Hey guys, welcome back. In this lecture, we will be talking about composition. So, in the previous lectures, we have talked about inheritance, and with the inheritance, we also got the concept of is a. So, the relationship is defined with the help of is a. Like we have talked about car is a vehicle or square is a shape. So, similarly, all the relationships cannot be defined with the help of inheritance. If I talk about books and libraries, so they have a strong relationship because without books, library is nothing. Similarly, if I talk about employee and salary, so there are many cases at which you have to define relationship. You have to take parameters from different classes or you have to take different method of different classes, but you cannot use inheritance because they don't have relationship like inheritance. So for that, there are two important things that we need to understand. One is composition and other one is aggregation. So let us understand composition. So composition come into picture when the two entities or two classes are highly dependent on each other and we can use a relationship of part of. And in composition both the entities are dependent on each other. And also we divide class as content and container. That means we are trying to build a relationship, a strong relationship between them. So if there is a container, we try to add that particular content inside that container. So here we are taking an example of salary and employee. So employee is our container and salary is our content. So that means if I use the relationship part of, so salary is part of employee and that's a truth. And here employee is my container and salary is my content. Let us move forward and take this example. So what I am doing is I have a salary in which I am taking two parameters, one is pay and the second one is reward, that is our bonus. And I am also defining a method called annual salary which will be calculating my 12-month pay and then it will be also adding my reward. That's easy. The next thing I am doing is I have a class employee in which I am taking name and position. I am also taking pay and reward. I am trying to call my salary class and then call my annual salary in which I will be passing my pay and reward. Since at initial level I will be creating an object of employee, pass the value of pay and reward, and once I am in my container, here inside this container I will be calling my salary, and in salary I will be calling a method called annual salary and get a return and print the result inside my employee. It's look confusing, but let us do that. So here I create an object. I will be calling it as final salary. Now here I will be calling my class, that is salary, and with the salary I will also be passing the values of pay and reward since these two are important to initialize my salary class. Don't worry, we are going to do lot more inside our employee class, but before that let me try this and see if I am going to get any error or not. Because I am calling another class. That means I am initiating this class inside another class. Let me create an object for employee. Here I need to pass 4 arguments: name, position, pay and reward. That's done. Let me run this one. You can see it was successful. That means I am not getting any error. What actually happened is I called my employee class, it called init function, that is my constructor. Then it initialized my name, position, and while initializing my final salary, it called my salary class. Then it initialized my pay and reward. So that's look fine and I'm not getting any error. So the next thing I want to do is I want to try and use this particular attribute because this is our object. This is a type of object. Here I'm doing the same. I'm calling my employee class and passing out the argument inside that. So I'm creating an object. I'm doing same with this particular attribute. So I want to try and use this attribute inside my class. So let me create one more method. I will be calling this method as final salary. Now what I want to calculate is my final salary. So for that I have an object of salary. So I just need to return the value with the help of self and then I just need to call my final salary. And inside this particular final salary, I need to call annual salary method. Remember, this is an object of salary, and inside this object I want to call annual salary method. Let me call this one. You can see my IntelliSense is working fine. And if I try to run this one, and if I try to run this command, let me do that. You can see it's not giving any error at this point of time. That is fine. Now what I need to do is I need to use this particular method, get this return and try to print it out. So for that I would be using print, and here I will try to use my EMP object and I would try to call my final salary. This looks fine. Before running our code, let me talk one small thing, that here I am using my attribute as well as my method name as exact same. So I would recommend you to use different names for both of them. Let me try to run this one. I might get an error. You can see I got an error that salary object is not callable because I am using same name for my attribute as well as my method. So let me change this one. So here I will be using _m just to define it as method, and here I am calling my method. Everything looks fine. Let me clear this up and run the code again. So that's how I'm utilizing my one container and I'm using my other content inside that. I converted my attribute into object and I also use my salary method inside another class. So this is about composition. Let me remind this example once again so you will have a perfect image about composition. So remember, it has a relationship of part of. So salary is a part of employee. The next thing is we have two class, salary and employee, and what we are doing is we are passing all the arguments to one class, that is employee, and inside that particular class we are also initiating salary class and now converting our attribute into object. So that means this is our object. We can now access any method of salary with the help of our object. We can also access the attributes of salary. Things look good. So here I created a simple method called final salary m, which has nothing to do but to return the answer of my annual salary. So I just use return and then call this particular method with the help of my object. So that was done. We have created our classes. The next thing I did is use my object of employee, call that particular method, got the return and print. I hope now you understand about composition. One other example that I want to take is library and books. So library can have number of books on the same or different subject. So if library get destroyed, then all the books within the particular library will be destroyed. That is, book cannot exist without library. So that is why it is composition. That means it has a strong relationship between both. So if container destroyed, then the content will be of no use. Same with the relationship of our salary and employee. That means they are both dependent on each other. That's all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be talking about aggregation. So see you in the next one.